Let's get this business started. So I don't know if y'all read my note or not, but basically I was talking about the difference between how males and female brains operate. Males work in more linear fashion and females work in more of a radial fashion. And essentially the way that works are our male brains are designed to make a decision and commit to it and then deal with the consequences later, while the female brain is better at seeing the consequences beforehand and will try to find the best solution or ideally a solution that satisfies all possible desires and priorities. But that comes with the price of hesitation. So for the friend zone part, but before I get into it, I'm going to break down what kind of the different friend zones are. So first and foremost, the scenario where, let's say, a guy likes a girl and she doesn't like him or respect him at all and is just maliciously abusing him. That outright doesn't count as the friend zone, right? That's just her fucking using the guy. And then another scenario, and the feminists are kind of mad at this, and I think they're legit on this one, is where the guy's just completely unattractive. You know what I mean? Just gross. You're not interested in him at all. But, he's a decent dude and you hang out with him. And so they think, well, I'm being friend zoned. Well, no, you're not attractive. You know what I mean? So she's not interested in you at all. So there's that one that I. But the scenario I'm talking about is where the guy is sexually viable. You know what I mean? They beat that. They're past that bare minimum threshold of, being attractive enough to be considered a mate. They're not the tallest, most handsome, wittiest, maybe a little social awkward, but, for all intents and purposes, are still fuckable. So my thing is I see this at a higher rate from females, and I think that that radial kind of thinking is the reason females will do it more. But basically, the thing is even if a guy's sexually viable, when you have that kind of radial thinking, you consider all of the factors at hand. And for instance, if the one guy is good enough, but there's another guy you're really, really interested in, and there's a chance that that other guy you're really, really interested in wouldn't like you talking to or being involved with the other guy, then you might choose not to, have sex with them even though they're viable, if that makes any sense. That's where I say that we're linear, right? If we think a female's viable, we're just going to we're going to commit towards moving towards fucking them, or we're just not. Usually, most of the time. But basically, the theory I have, and the reason I don't write a note about this, is I do believe it's half social, not just half the difference between our brains. And so, on the social end, I think it's a product of two different beliefs. One that females mostly have been brainwashed to believe, and the other that males have been brainwashed to believe in Western culture. And so, I think the biggest contribution to the friend zone is that females have been made to believe that every male they sleep with permanently reduces their viability as a long-term partner or somebody that's to be respected or loved or committed to. I mean, again, commitments kind of make believe, but that's neither here nor there. But basically, they're society brainwashes us to believe that if a female slept with 50 guys, that automatically DQs her from any serious kind of relationship. And so that's the thing. If you're the guy where you're sexually viable, but you're not, like I said, she's not super blown away by you, that radial mind is going to constantly be thinking, well, if I sleep with this guy, I'm going to lose out on a potential long-term mate in the future. So I'm not going to sleep with this guy, even though he's viable and meets the bare minimum threshold of being fuckable. So that's one. And then the other one, which I think guys are brainwashed to believe, is that if a girl gets involved with a lame guy, you know what I mean, somebody who's not amazing, right? Then if we get involved with them, we're suckers, right? Is we're only supposed to talk to girls that are really, really hard to get. But if she, dates average Joes, then by association, that makes us, lesser. Again, that's also bullshit too. But that's it. So that's what I think it is. It's that it's the radio brain kind of saying, well, this guy is interested. And another reason, guys get friend zoned or people get friend zoned in general is that availability. Is that when you are available, the person can wait, years, months, whatever, to get around to doing anything with you, right? Where when you're not available, it's a decision they kind of have to make sooner. All right, here we go. The body count and the way that it applies to women. Yeah, no, you're right, Cassia. Well, again, if you read my work, all cultures make believe. So the whole concept that, you know what I mean, being a slut has any negative connotations is fucking bullshit. It's part of natural human behavior. We're supposed to spread our fucking genes. That's what we exist literally to do. But again, that's what I think. Yeah, the body count, as you say, that's make believe in society, and that's why I didn't make a note out of this. Is I don't think in nature females would friend zone as much as they do, but I'm saying they're the way their brain works. You know, when you apply societal expectations to that, that's the result you get. But the girl, it's out there because they show it constantly on social media. Nick said he friend zone girls all the time, but he also told me they're friends, but he would hook up with them, but like he wouldn't date them. Well, I mean, for what you're saying, so let's see, where he said, yeah, he friend zone girls all the time, but he also told me he would hook up with them, but he wouldn't date them. That's not the same as the friend zone. I wouldn't say anyways. I mean, like I said, when you think of the friend zone, it's you're interested in someone, but like I said, you're the friend zone. They're shutting you down. But if he's sleeping with these girls in his friend zone, I wouldn't call it a friend zone. You know what I mean? I wouldn't say it is at all. Just because, like I said, they're still engaging in sexual intercourse with them. But again, I mean, is he doing it, or is he just saying he would do it but not doing it? That's kind of what I need to know. Because if he's hooking up with them but not engaging in a long-term relationship or a emotional relationship, that wouldn't be the friend zone. That's, I mean, again, to some people would feel like the friend zone, right? If they're really interested in the guy. Okay, so why do you feel the need to do the friend zone or the friend zoning? Or what do you consider it? Because it sounds like what you're doing is just courting, essentially, is you're just getting to know the person before you get involved with them. I wouldn't say that's the same as friend zoning. Like I said, when I say friend zone, it's like I said, like you just put that hard limit on it, like we're only friends, nothing sexual is going to happen between us. But what you're talking about sounds more like courtship, which is just getting to know the person, and then if they play it right, cool. And then if not, well, then y'all are just friends. So that sounds kind of normal. A lot of people sit in the friend zone, and it's okay to sit in the friend zone, but not idly. There's other people out there you can go and talk to. The two of the most underrated sexual forces we have is proximity and curiosity. Is if you're around somebody long enough and you become comfortable with them, you know, yeah, things tend to happen. It's like I said, it's in our nature to fuck each other. That's what we're supposed to do. So, is friend zone fluid? Well, this is why I say, like I said, it's kind of it's the whole friend zone concept is kind of a make believe social construct. So all social constructs are fluid, like race and all of that. So again, that's why I'm doing a video instead of a note. I do notes on things that are hard science, like facts, but the friend zone's not really there.
I should ask this: do you think that there should be like maybe a study and a science put to it? Not saying it's that serious, but I'm saying there's a lot of things like that, even more serious subject, like when you bring up race, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. Like a lot of if you ask 10 different people what racism is, you're probably gonna get 6 different answers. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if there's like, I mean, I know there's a science to it, but I don't know if that science is necessarily followed. Is that what I'm trying to say, or? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, that's the thing. Like I said, when the final testament is all done, you know what I mean? I'm going to release the first volume. But if I pick up traction, I'm going to get a scientific team together to study a lot of the stuff I say and stuff I want to say. And, yeah, absolutely. A study like that would be amazing. All right, here we go. I'm sorry. The comments here are starting to talk. So Zaire said, is there an evolutionary aspect? And I say absolutely not. Friend zoning is a social construct.
Right.
Now, like I said, as far as a guy being sexually viable but a girl holding off on it, there is some science to that. And like I said, the way the female brain is more radial. The male brain is linear, right? If we say you're sexually viable, we're going to try and get in your pants and commit to that action. where if a female thinks you're sexually viable, she's still going to consider all of her other priorities. So in a natural aspect, for instance, if the female is talking to a guy that she's just smitten with, right? He's 10 out of 10 for her, and he says, hey, I don't want you talking to no other dudes. Well, there could be 7 other dudes that she thinks are sexually viable, good enough to have sex with, but she will friend zone or not talk to those dudes because the other dude is a larger priority in her mind.
So basically,
there is a natural aspect to it, absolutely, but this construct of like we're friends and we can't go any further. No, the reality in the case I'm talking about, where the person in the friend zone is sexually viable, it's really like we're not going to have sex right now, but I'm open to it in the future. But people who put people in the friend zone, they don't say that. They say we're just friends. Stop.
Do you think the friend zone? Do you think the friend zone is always a sexual thing? And the reason I say that is, you know, I've been friend zoned plenty of times. I've been friend zoned by a couple of females that's in here right now. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
yeah. No, we've all been there.
And I also made it out the friend zone with the girl I'm with now. So it's like
you've done that a few times. You're a legend.
But here's the thing though. Like what I think is like, and I'm not gonna mention any names, but like I said, there's some in here. There's some. You know, and then there's one that I'm with. Each time I wasn't thinking sexual, you feel me? I was thinking relationship. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't think the friend zone always comes down to sex, or or are you only getting at the sexual part of it? You feel me? Like what is it to you is basically what I'm asking.
I mean, I would say it's the sexual. Like I said, my thing is when there's viability. When the guy or the girl in the friend zone is fuckable, they're good enough, right? They're not somebody you're, like I said, head over heels over, but hey, they're viable. You know what I mean? They're good enough for you to consider sexually. But when you put them in the friend zone, you're committing to not, right? You're just putting a block there and saying, oh yeah, we're not gonna have sex, even though there's a little bit of interest there. I'm just gonna put a block on it because it's easier to fit within society. That's what I'm saying is the friend zone.
Okay, so if somebody just wants a relationship, obviously they're going to want to eventually be sexual because it's a relationship, right?
Well, yeah. I hope so. I mean, it's 2018, man. Weirder things happen, so.
Right, but I'm saying, like, so if somebody just wants a relationship and they're just like, nah, we're friends, like, you wouldn't necessarily consider that the friend zone then.
Say that again, I'm sorry. I'm trying to read the comments and hear you.
Like, if somebody was trying to, like, get, like, basically make a relationship out of a situation, talk to a girl, get to know her, take her out, you feel me, and like build a bond and then form a relationship, and they're not like necessarily just out for sex, they're out for a relationship. What you're saying is, what I'm asking is, if they're trying to shoot for the relationship and the girl's like, nah, we're just friends, what's up, bro? Like, nah, we're just friends, you know what I'm saying? And they do that form of friend zone, like, do you consider that friend zoning even though there's no sexual intent?
I mean, that's, like I said, a relationship between two people that are of the proper sex and have intimacy towards each other, or intimate feelings towards each other without sex, is really just an unnatural scenario. I mean, you know, obviously some things can lead to it, but usually it's more, like I said, there's trauma or there's, you know, lack of sex drive from other factors. So that's kind of my thing, is the scenario you're talking about, it does physically happen, but it's not supposed to. Yeah, if there's chemistry between two people, they're supposed to have sex. That's literally what our whole chemistry is all about.
I mean, because, like, in the situation with my girl, like, there was a couple times, like, when I was friend zoned where, you know, we did our thing, but I was weird as a teenager. You feel me? Like, I wasn't always, like,
nigga, everybody was weird as a teenager.
True. But I'm saying, like, I wasn't always out for sex. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I was head over heels in love with the girl I'm with before we were ever together. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
Like, I wanted to make a situation out of that was serious. And, you know what I'm saying? Whenever sex was brought up, it was brought up by her usually. You know what I'm saying? Because I was just infatuated with her. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I asked,
right.
That's why I asked the question where it's like, is that considered a friend zone? Because I really just wasn't. It's not that, like, I wasn't sexually interested. Obviously I was, but nigga, that's not where my heart was. You know what I'm saying? My heart was with her. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, I mean, the intimacy and sex go hand in hand. Like it's hand in hand. So I see what you're saying. You were interested in more than just a hookup.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I guess at that point, the relatable kind of analogy there is if she only hooked up with you but didn't, want to be romantic, you wouldn't consider that a win, right?
Yeah, not in that case, no.
I mean, but like I said, I'm specifically talking, for sex. Like I said, relationship and intimacy normally are supposed to grow off of sex, which is a whole nother topic, but yeah, that's our natural progression of nature. You know pretty quickly whether or not you want to have sex with somebody, or you're interested in having possibly having sex with someone way faster than you know whether or not you like someone. So the order is supposed to be sex first, then relationship later. Just because that's how our brain works. We know whether or not somebody's attractive damn near instantly, but whether or not there's someone you want to spend every day with takes a little bit of time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I could friend zone you because I like you and you're a great person, but intimacy and romance isn't for us. Well, like I said, Cassia, what I'm asking is would this person be viable to you? Would they meet the bare minimum standards of fuckable? Because if they're not fuckable to you, then and you're not attracted to them at all, even a little bit, then I wouldn't say that's a friend zone. That's just being regular friends. If there's no interest, absolutely no possible interest at your end, yeah, that's not a friend zone. That's just being friends.
Okay.
All right, with girls, we friend zone guys because we don't know truthfully if we want to be with them. We're indecisive. That's 100% facts. If you read that note, what I was talking about, that's what I said. That's what I'm saying is, male in the same situation, if you're sexually viable, is going to choose to either move on and mate with you or not. We're more linear. So we're not going to have you kind of sit in some waiting room while we decide. We're either going to go for it or not go for it. That's how our brains work. But your brains work more in a radial fashion, right? You're like, in any decision you make, you're always constantly thinking about the other priorities you have in your life. Where, again, males are a lot more impulsive. In fact, if you read my note, I also talk about how you can take advantage of that and seduce people for both males and females. So, yeah, you should read that, Fabiola. It's going to be on my notes section, and it's going to be called, it's chapter 3, and males make poor decisions, and females are poor at making decisions. But yeah, no, that's my whole point, is females do the friend zone more because there's more uncertainty just with the way their brain works. And so it's easier to kind of keep the male on the side, especially if he's willing to wait while you decide whether or not you want to go with it. Or, again, you can kind of, if he's willing to be always available, that door is always open to you. So you don't have to make a decision now. You can make a decision whenever the fuck you feel like it. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's what I was saying. Yep, there it is. Really? Yeah, exactly what I'm saying, Fabiola. Yeah, you constantly think about everything. So yeah, that's what I was saying. So yeah, again, you're kind of getting what I'm saying is I think females do the friend zone because of being females, but the concept of the friend zone itself is complete social make-believe. Like, in nature, it wouldn't be a friend zone. You would just tell the truth and just be like, you're viable, but I'm talking to another guy who might not be cool with it, so not now. Talk to me later.
No, I'm gonna keep it real too. I've read a couple of Teddy's notes, bro, or to Facebook Mason's notes. Like, really check those out, bro. They're good notes to read up on. It gives you something to think. Even if you disagree, it creates dialogue. You know what I'm saying? It creates interest in conversations like these ones because these aren't normal conversations. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't.
Yeah, they should be. They should be.
But they're not.